There we go, sorry about that. Got sound now. Just had a bit of a summer storm here in southeast Queensland. It's only wind spring, but having a look around now, check the animals. These are the Australian native bees. They are still asleep. Well, not asleep, but hidden away because of the storm. It's still raining a little bit. It's not too bad at the moment though. We will pop up and have a look. We have a few animals flying away. Some dragonflies out because of the rain. Struggling. I'm guessing the wings are wet. The European honeybees are just getting back out. Had a bit of a storm here. I started doing a live again after the storm for a bit of a walk around. It's actually starting to get heavier rain again. I'll have to go in and have a look if there is another storm coming up. But for the thing, we'll have a bit of a walk around the garden. We really needed the rain. If you were here before on the last live when the storm was getting crazy, say hi. You can see that it's all stopped. We've survived. A few people said they were worried. It's nothing to worry about here. We get storms semi-regularly. Well, in summer, I'd say every couple of days we get a storm. They last about 15 minutes. They're heavy rain, lots of wind, sometimes have hail. But I'm just going to pop off and grab an umbrella. My phone is getting quite wet. I think if we're home and some storms are going to come through, we'll go onto a live and show you guys. Although they're very normal for us, I have been told that the storms that we get in the afternoons are not the normal around the rest of the place. So if you're interested in seeing any of the storms that we have, hit the subscribe button. And we will start having a bit of a look around the garden. So this is the King Purple Climbing Bean. Lots of flowers are coming, which means we'll have the seed pods shortly. They're nice purple flowers. With the rain around, the bees aren't out, but the bees really like the colour purple and blue. So there have been bees on here all day. Out of that section, we've got these sections along here, which are for the seedlings that I am currently germinating. We're coming into summer where it's extremely hot. Sorry about the dropout then. Just the Wi-Fi is not working, so I've had to turn that one off. This is a bushing tomato variety. It currently has heaps and heaps of tomatoes. They're all only little, about the size of a grape at the moment, but this is going to be filling up with great, really nice fruit. Actually, I can't remember what that one's called, but I googled best tasting tomatoes available in Australia. That was on the list, and I have bought the top 3 off that list. So that's one of them there. Another one's further down, and the third one is currently germinating. The third one is a black tomato. So that'll be interesting to grow. We got some leafy greens in this area here. Across the front is rocket, and then your typical leafy garden greens there. Mixed salad or salad leaf, I think they're called. Some of them are quite nice, some of them are a little bitter. So once they go to seed, which will be happening any day or within the next month at least, we will pick the seeds from the ones we like. We will get rid of the ones that we don't. So next year we will have a better harvest, something we will enjoy more, something that's a bit more climatized to this area. We have a capsicum plant there. It's called Chinese Giant. It's getting eaten by bugs. We do have some spray that we're starting to apply to it, so hopefully it will come back. With the rain that we've had today, everything's going to explode with growth. And in the background there is cucumber. They'll grow nicely in the heat of summer. We just need to get them to grow up and cover the fence before the heat gets stuck in, because otherwise the hot fence will kill the plant. Got some onions here. We planted them late in the season. They are starting to fill out at the bottoms, but it's not going to be a lot. So we'll just be picking baby onions for those ones. Is the sound coming through okay? Can everyone hear me all right? We've had some storms. The Wi-Fi is not working properly, but I think I've got you guys okay with the microphone currently connected. Move down the garden a little bit further, and sort of the herb corner. There's garlic chives over in the back there. They are a fantastic substitution for garlic in the hot season. They're probably a bit more oniony than they are garlicky, but if you can't get the hands on the fresh garlic, it's definitely the next best thing. Some thyme, some others there. Actually, one plant we've skipped as we've come along was the coriander, or cilantro, depending where you're from in the world. What's interesting is these are your standard coriander leaves. Getting down here. But the ones here that look a bit like a carrot plant is telling me that it's going to seed. So once these have started, once the seeds have shot up, which I think it's on this stem that's going to happen, we'll collect the seeds. This one's been really nice, so we'll keep them and put them aside for the year. For after summer, once it starts to cool down, we'll replant it. It grows here all year except in the hottest part of summer. So we'll collect the seeds, put them aside for next growing season, and we will eat the rest of them. It's called coriander for the plant and the seeds here. Some places it's called cilantro for all of it. Some places the plant's called coriander and the seeds are not, but we'll just keep calling it coriander. It's hard to see in there at the moment. It is quite bushy. There's lots and lots and lots of little tomatoes, so that'd be great once they start becoming ready. The cucumber plants, the onions. That was our first lettuce that's finished up for the season. That was baby spinach. These ones here are still growing fine. If you're interested in food gardening, Australia, Southeast Queensland, the weather, I hadn't thought about the storms, but we had a nice storm before, which I done a live stream on. So if you guys are in the freezing weather, you can always pop onto the page and have a look at us here in spring and summer. That one there's a zucchini plant. It's taken a little while to get going, but now it's started to grow really nicely. It has that whole area. We will be able to pick fruit from this one probably all the way through to winter or close to it. It's currently only partway through spring here, so lots of area for it to grow out. And we'll just keep wrapping it around. Some people run it up a trellis, some people just let it go on the ground. Depending if you've got a long growing season like us, you need some way to control it because it will continue to grow. Fruit, flower, then that section of the plant will be finished when the next part is still growing. So for us, we will just wrap it around in a circle, and then if we get back to the start, we'll just wrap it around again. This one here is a tomato plant. It's on a lean and lower trellis. All that means is it's connected to ropes. Once a plant reaches the top, instead of cutting it off and that's where the harvest will finish, we can lower the rope. We have some extra rope tied on the side. Lower it down, it will just put a big bow in the bottom. We'll be able to continue harvesting those as well. That plant should grow all through summer. So finishing up in spring, we'll start harvesting at the start of summer, all through autumn. It'll finish up through autumn, but we can plant again and we can grow tomatoes all year round here. So we have a few in the garden now, a few different varieties in seedling. So we'll continue to plant those as the days go on. Working along, we have beetroot at the front. and citrus at the back. There's mandarin and orange plant there. The one that's in the pot is an orange. Our whole backyard is getting transformed into a food garden, or food forest, you might say. Basically, gardens, entertainment area, and pathways. And all the plants will be food. So if you want to see that, follow along the page. We had some tips and tricks for you guys. I used some tips and tricks from you guys. And see if it's something that you guys like in your backyard. We have corn here. The kernels are, sorry, the kernels. The cobs of corn are starting to come through. You can see these little furry bits here. That's the top of the cob of the corn. If you haven't seen corn grow before, the long sections on top have the pollen. The wind or a breeze makes them fall. They will hit the little strings there, which are called silks. Every silk is connected to a kernel of corn. So if you don't get a piece of pollen on every one of those silks, then every kernel won't grow. So you plant corn in a bit of a bunch. This is quite a small bunch. I think there's 12 plants here. Each corn plant can pollinate other corn. So we plant only one type of corn at a time. So we don't get cross-pollination. That would ruin the seeds for next year. And it would also ruin the fruit this year. So one type of corn at a time. Once they've pollinated and they're ripening up, we'll have the next lot, which I have already planted in here, which is still a sweet corn, but I will stop the cross-pollination anyway. By the time these ones have got the silks showing through, these ones will be finished, and I will just chop off the top sections with the pollen on it. Any African tomatoes? I have not seen African tomatoes. I'm not sure which varieties we have here, if that's even what you're meaning, but I don't know about African tomatoes. This one here is a lemon tree. It's been here for a couple of years. That was one of the first things we planted. I was a bit greedy at the start and didn't get rid of the first season's fruit, and I've tied the plant up, which has been a problem because the trunk is not strong enough. So after this season, I will cut it back, stake it, do my best to make it a nice strong tree. All of the trees here, I'm trying to do them as trees and not shrubs. I know lots of times lemon trees, people grow it as like more of a shrub hedge type plant instead of an actual tree, but I want them to be up and out of the way of the rest of the garden here. Continue along. This is a pumpkin. It is called an Australian blue. Oh, sorry about that with the camera, guys. Let me just turn that back. I am a bit of an idiot. The other day I was doing a bit of trimming. I trim it so it stays off the grass and stops growing this way into the garden. So instead of cutting off a runner that was going this way into the garden, I chopped off our main one that was growing out here into our pumpkin patch. So we now currently only have one big one and a couple of small ones out there. The storm has actually blown that over. So I'll fix it up. If I didn't there, by tomorrow, the leaves would be back up looking for the sun anyway. But I need to get one more bale of straw to put over here. And then this whole area here will be for the pumpkins to grow on. In the pot here we have sweet potato. Over the years we've grown lots of different types, but the last couple of years we haven't really grown anything. So these were from the shop. So we only planted one set. The sweet potato plants, they don't grow from seed, they grow from cuttings, and they're called slips. So this season is realistically just to make sure we like the vegetable and to propagate new slips. Generally, I would have planted probably 5 in that pot to get the biggest harvest out of the smallest area I can. But as I said, this one's only make sure we like the taste, like the flavor, like how long it stores, the harvest amount. If it's good, we will propagate more. If it's not, we'll cull it and find one that we do like more of. So this is an ongoing garden now. Every time something's finished, we'll collect the seeds, take cuttings, propagate new plants if we can, and then continue on with the planting. We've got a lot of area that we're turning into gardens, so we're going to need a lot more plants. Some of them will come from just our Bunnings, which is the big hardware store here. It has a nice garden centre. We will be checking out smaller nurseries for plants, and hopefully we will find some local growers that we can swap, trade and barter for some of the less common or harder to get plants. The plant over the top there is lemongrass. We plant lemongrass in a pot because it would take over the garden if we didn't. It is just a normal, well, it's not a normal grass, but it is a grass. So it just keeps popping up new shoots beside the old ones. If we left it in the garden, it would just start at one side, work its way over. What we do is we plant it in a pot, let it grow out to the edges, harvest it as we need it, and then once the pot's full, harvest the whole lot, plant another small bit in the middle, use what we've harvested while it regrows, and you only ever have to buy it once, but I would suggest putting it into a pot if you didn't have a large area for it to take over. Let's walk back over here and see if the Australian native bees have come back out after the rain. It does not appear that they have. I'm actually using the camera to look up their tube. It's a bit dark in there. Australian native bees are stingless. They don't make a lot of honey, but the honey that they do make has a really rich flavour. This hive is called an oath hive, and it's sort of the Australian standard, I guess. Well, there might be two types, but this is the size of the standard hive. So when we split, you can split a hive every year as long as it's healthy. You can buy a hive from different suppliers. You can make your own, and they're basically interchangeable, which is nice. Those guys haven't come back out after the storm, but I'm guessing the European honeybees have. It's actually raining more than I thought it was, but the bees are on the front of the hive. I'm not sure why they rush so much to get back out after the rain, but they've got a lot going on. That was a swarm that we had. We picked up that swarm a couple of months ago now, and they are growing, filling out that hive really well. I'd say in the next month we'll move them up to a full-size hive, and I'd say by halfway through summer, maybe a little bit earlier, we will be adding some honey supers on top. Basically, this live is just a bit of an ad for my channel, I guess. See if you're interested in what I'm showing. If you are, hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate you guys to hang around. I'm not going to bombard you with anything too crazy. You can always unlike us if you decide later on that we're not for you. All this grass that you can see here is going to be pulled up. There's going to be pathways and gardens, and there's a little trampoline just there. Well, it's not a little trampoline, it's quite a large one. That's going to get moved over where the climbing fort is. The climbing fort will be taken away, and it will be gardens and all food. So if you're in southeast Queensland, especially, follow along. You'll be able to have the same growing season as us, and we'll let you know what we're planting and when we're planting, what we're harvesting and how much we get. Another little tip is this little compost bin here. Check out your local council. Our local council has a grant for $50 if you $50 towards composting or worm farming. This compost bin was $49, so after the rebate, completely free. We're filling it up with garden waste and kitchen scraps, cardboard from our deliveries. So the contents are completely free, and at the end it will be completely free compost. So see if you guys council has anything like that going on. If they do, I'd say it's one of the best things to feed the garden. I'd say it beats a bunch of the commercial fertilizers, and it's free. Working our way back down the garden. the straw patch, which I have actually seen. You can see there in the middle some shoots. I'm not sure what they were, but in the garden I use sugarcane mulch. I was considering using straw instead, but it seems that the straw has some type of seed in it, so I'm not going to put it into the garden. I'll stick with the sugarcane mulch. Or another thing I'm planning is, once the corn have finished growing, is shred them and use those for mulch in the own garden. We'll know where it's come from. I'll know that there's no seeds from any weeds on it. I'll know that there's no pesticides or herbicides on it. So we will have to see if we can grow our own mulch, which will be interesting. I'll take you guys along for that journey once I decide to do it. I don't know if I'll plant a whole lot of corn, or I'm actually going to be putting sugarcane in as well, I think. So we might grow the corn, grow the sugarcane, make our own mulch. I haven't really seen anybody do that a lot, except for with wood chip. And I prefer not to use wood chip. I don't really have a good reason. So I have Australian blue pumpkins, sweet potato and lemongrass, citrus, those ones and those ones, corn. There's lots of little plants around that we don't really talk about. Oh, this one here is parsley. There's another tiny little parsley down in there. But now it's getting hot, I am probably going to, I've got some Australian lettuce. It says it's late bolting and it can handle some heat. So I'll be planting that and probably putting it in amongst the corn, potentially under some of the other plants, just somewhere that it's going to get some shade. And hopefully we can be able to harvest as long as we can. The more plants we have covering the ground, the less mulch we need. I appreciate everybody hanging around, having a chat. We have beetroot along the front there. Huge difference in growing. I'm not sure why. They were all planted the same day, all transplanted the same day, same soil. But as you can see, the ones on the left are growing a lot better than the ones on the right. I'm guessing something in the soil. It was just one. Yeah, you'd say it was a bad plant, but it seems to be better on this side than it is on this side. I've added some compost underneath the mulch there, so I'm sure it will pick up in the coming weeks. Zucchini, tomato. This one doesn't have any fruit on there yet, but it does have lots of flowers. So it will be in the coming days that they will start turning into fruit. These ones are a really big tomato, which generally is less sweet. So we'll have to see what that's like once it's ready to harvest. Although it did say that it was one of the best tasting tomatoes. I googled which ones were the best, and I bought the top 3. Herbs in this corner, I've got to put some more in. Just work out which ones are going to grow well in the Australian heat through summer. Cucumbers at the back, onions at the front. More cucumbers at the back and leafy greens in front. Cucumber plant in the middle. No, not cucumber. Capsicum plant in the middle. Those ones are called Chinese giant. The plant's struggling with pests, but we should be looking after those. It should be coming back stronger anytime soon. A bushing variety of tomato. It did say that it didn't need trellis, but I've noticed with the weight of the tiny fruit, it definitely needs something. So I've put a tomato tower around it. Rest the branches up on top of the crossbars, stop the leaves and fruit getting down into the ground. We actually have a whole lot of these little shoots that I've been pulling out. I think they're passion fruit. We did have a passion fruit vine covering this garden, so we will see. We'll see how many more come up, and if they do, I'll probably plant a few, let them grow out, and see if it actually is passion fruit. That one's coriander at the front. We have some onions growing in here. They're not growing very well. I'll let them keep going, but for now, once the new seedlings are ready to plant, I will plant in nice and close. I'm not worried if they get taken over with another plant. This was a discount, another capsicum plant at Bunnings. It's long, sweet yellow. They weren't very creative with the name, but I'm hoping that they're really nice. So they look the same shape as a jalapeno, but I don't think they're going to be spicy. So the rest of this area is empty with a lot of plants, a lot of seedlings to go. This is a king purple bean. It is growing crazy. It's gone all the way to the top. Just yesterday, let's see if I can get the roll up there to show you. There we go. Just yesterday, that had only just reached the top. Today, it's a good 30 centimeters above it. So it's growing probably 30 centimeters a day. Heaps of flowers, which means we will have heaps of beans very soon. You can eat them raw purple, or you can cook them, but if you cook them, they turn back green. This whole section is empty. I'll take you up in a second to show you the seedlings that I've planted. The seeds I've planted, sorry, that are germinating now, which is to fill that area. This one here is a spaghetti squash. Again, it was a discount at Bunnings, so I'm interested to see how that one's going to go. By the look of it, it's going to be able to grow off a trellis. Not sure if it's going to go vertical up there, but we're going to give it a go. Down here we have the passion fruit that we were talking about earlier. The passion fruit was up and over the top of all this garden, but now I've taken it down, and instead of letting it go back up here, it looks like it's in a pot, but it's not. It's actually in the ground. Instead of letting it grow back up this way, I'm going to direct it over onto this section of fence and make a trellis for it to grow here. Restrict its growth this year. We'll still get the fruit. We'll still get enough fruit. We picked hundreds and hundreds, potentially in 1,000 off it last year. Being its second growing cycle, we should get more. So that is going to go up here. We'll go to 3 meters high, which is what we're allowed to do in our area. And then let me take you guys. Oh, let me turn you around. Hopefully I don't scare you off my face. But I'll take you up, and I'm wet. I've been out in the rain in the storm. Oh, once the storm's finishing up. And I will show you. I'm going to get rid of the umbrella now. We're undercover. I will show you guys the seeds that I've planted and that they're coming up. Let me turn you back around. All right. So we have purple carrot and white carrot, which have not yet broken through the soil. We only planted these seeds, I think, 5 days ago. So there's going to be some that come up and will grow really nicely. I tried to plant them roughly with something else that would take about the same time to germinate. So in the end, we have white and purple carrots. They haven't come through yet. This one we have Cossack pineapple and sour gherkin. I think it's Mexican sour gherkin. Both of those I am very interested in. They're not something that you can find seedlings here for, so I've had to get the seeds. And this will be the first year growing both of them. So hopefully they're really nice, and I will be able to collect the seeds for next year. Egyptian spinach and edible flowers. The Egyptian spinach has come up well. That's going to be one of the only seeds, one of the only leafy greens that we're going to be able to grow here through summer. It's too hot, and we can't grow normal leafy greens. So I'm trying a few different types to find some that I like and that will handle the heat. Over the back here we have Australian lettuce. I think we are a little bit late to be growing it, but I'm going to plant it underneath something like the corn to give it some shade, and hopefully we can get a bit of a harvest out of it before it goes to seed. But realistically, I'm planting a few to make sure I can take the seeds. We have beetroot beside it. We eat lots of beetroot. I think we've got 3 or 4 different types growing in the gardens. This is just a bit of a top up. I had an extra row of seed in this seed tray, so put in some more. Moving over, we have broccoli, which is meant to be an all-year broccoli. I doubt it. I think it's going to struggle through the heat here in summer. We get days in the, well, we're in spring now and we're in the mid-30s. Summer will be mid-30s through to low 40s in our area. And then, so that's actually broccolini, not just broccoli. And then cauliflower, which is also meant to be able to grow through summer. So we will see. Hopefully it does. And then I've just taken a thyme cutting. I've been told that they grow from cuttings, so that's just sitting there so it can get watered every day with the rest of them. I appreciate you all being here. We are a young family here in southeast Queensland. I'm going to show you guys this way while we have a bit of a chat. Moving a couple of things. You guys are on a tripod, so I just got to fold the feet out and look out that way. So we're back under the bush here. We are a small family in southeast Queensland, Australia. Don't mind my wife down there. She probably doesn't even know she's on camera. Turn you guys a bit further that way. We are... Oh, she's going to be coming up. Turn you guys back that way. Taking a picture of the sun. Not sure if she's going to put it into a video or not. We have really nice sunsets. I'll take you guys down shortly and show you the sunset. We've had really hot days in spring, and we are, you know, I moved it to the side so you weren't in there. We lost my train of thought. What was I saying? We're a young family in southeast Queensland. This is our YouTube channel that we started up of our backyard and garden. There's going to be lots of changes in the backyard for a lot more food gardens. We have Australian native bees and European honeybees. We have composting worms. We have African night crawlers, which we breed for fishing. And we use the worm castings for the garden. We use the channel to show you guys what we're growing, when we're growing it, what type of harvest we're getting, show tips and tricks, and use the tips and tricks that we get from you guys. Try out things that you think are going to make us better gardeners. See if they're going to work. It's an ongoing project, so if you hit the subscribe button, follow along, you're going to see lots of changes through the yard, through our gardening techniques as well. The page is run by me. My name is Jay, and my wife. I'm sure you'll see her on a bunch of videos as well. If there's anything that you guys want to see in any videos, you want to see videos of anything in particular, any plants you think we should try and grow, or any tips for us, hit the subscribe button, jump on, have a look through our videos, see if we've already spoken about it. If we haven't, leave some comments. Comments on some of the videos, tell us what you think. We're by no means saying we're an expert, but I think it'll be interesting to see what's happening to the backyard over the spring, the summer, through the winter. We don't really have a specific growing season. Different plants here do, but we can grow all year round. The hardest season to grow in is probably summer. Most places I think it would be winter, but our winters are very mild. And we can grow, yeah, all year round. So if you think we should try and grow a plant, a food plant, let us know. We will see if we can source it, and we'll take you guys along for the journey of growing those plants. We will have heaps and heaps and heaps of growing space. So we're going to grow all of your staples, all of the foods that you'd expect that we would be growing, but then we're going to have a whole lot of others growing as well. Yeah. I appreciate you all being here. Anything that anyone wants to talk about, leave us a comment. I like having a chat. Roman, welcome. Hello from Melbourne. We're in southeast Queensland, about half an hour south of Brisbane. I appreciate you being here. Are you interested in gardening? And how is the weather? We've just had a big storm here this afternoon. I'm not sure if you can see that it's wet, but our last live was of the storm. If you wanted to see that, jump onto our page and have a look. I know that they say the weather in Melbourne, you can get every season in a day. We generally don't get anything cold up here, but we do. We can go from sunny to storming and back to sunny within half an hour. I'll take you guys down soon and show you the sunset. Just waiting for it to get a little bit lower, but I can see that there's some nice colors in the sky already. We will be doing videos on the beehives. We'll probably do one more on the Australian natives before we close it up for the rest of the year, and it won't be opened again until the start of spring, as long as the weight is good. Sort of how you tell when to split an Australian native beehive is by with the weight. With the European honeybees, we will open the hive up roughly monthly, at the moment a little bit more frequently, as they fill out the nucleus box, and we move them over to a full-blown beehive. We're going to set it up as a single brood box, honey supers on top, and a queen excluder. If you know about bees, if you don't know about bees, we're going to have a nice beehive. You can follow along. Marianne, hello, hi, welcome. Thank you for being here. We are a small channel here in southeast Queensland. I'm glad you have come along. Whereabouts are you from? Welcome everybody. I appreciate you being here with us. We are as I said, a small family here in southeast Queensland, taking you guys along for our gardening journey. This is our backyard. We will be changing it from just an empty space with a few toys in it to a food forest. We'll still be keeping the trampoline and some things for the kids to play with, but there's going to be a lot more gardening going on. Alright guys, I think I will finish up the live unless there's anybody who wants to talk about anything. Around here you can see some of the colours in the sky for the sunset. Maybe behind that screen there, but doesn't really show up on the camera. Alright, we'll go for a quick walk down, back past the garden, show you guys what we're doing, and hopefully have a bit of a chat. I can say hi. It is really alive that I am here. I am doing. We're not trying to pick anybody. Let's walk you guys down. We had quite a big storm here this afternoon. It was funny, we actually cleaned off the trampoline partway through the day. is extremely hot and humid, full of leaves again. So we'll have to get back in and clean that out tomorrow once it dries off. The sun has gone. Actually, I can't tell if the sun's gone down behind the horizon, or if it has just sitting behind the cloud up there. But this is our backyard. We have beans. That's our backyard. That is our garden. I expected the Australian honeybees the Australian stingless bees to be back out by now, but it does not appear that they are. We're going to do one more video of opening up this guy's hive before we seal them up until next spring. So if you want to see that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I guess the like button's not going to do anything for that, but hit the subscribe button and you'll be able to see us open the hive up. Australian native bees are stingless. They are a lot smaller than honeybees, but they do the same pollinating. They make a lot less honey, but the honey is a lot richer than honeybee honey. I don't keep them for the honey. I keep them mainly just because I like them, but they also do a great job of pollinating the garden. And they always have plenty to get from the bush behind us. Let's take a little look up the side here at the, I can zoom in. I've never tried zooming in the YouTube. We can. This is the European honeybees. They're just venturing back out after the storm. We keep the composting worms indoors here. You can have composting worms like red wigglers, which will last through the heat, but we breed African night crawlers for fishing, and they won't last the heat of summer. So they're kept indoors. I haven't actually done a video about them yet, but we will if we need to. Well, not if we need to, we definitely will. Just once I get in and change something with them, I'll video it for you guys. We're going to plant the garden quite heavily. This section here is concrete underneath the straw, so that will be just staying as straw for now, but eventually it's going to be the chicken coop where I'm standing. Hi there, drop in to say hello from Sydney, Australia. Hey Jason, welcome, thank you for being here, I appreciate it. Yeah, as I was saying, we're going to plant our garden quite heavily, we're going to feed it quite heavily and take up as much growing space as we can, get as much of a harvest as we can. The idea is to change the whole backyard into food gardens. So there's a lot of work ahead. Ideally, we're going to be growing the majority of our food. No one's going to try and... We're not under the illusion we'll be able to grow everything, but if we can grow a whole bunch of it, it will be nice to know where it comes from, get the family involved, have the kids understanding where food comes from. I think a lot of people these days think food just comes from the shops. Bye, More. I am having a bit of a chat, showing you guys our backyard and the garden. Our YouTube channel is called Aussie Backyard Harvest. We are a family in southeast Queensland. We will be taking you guys along for our gardening journey and changing our backyard into a bit of a food haven. I keep saying food forest. I don't think I actually like that term, so I need to think of something new to say. But filling up, getting rid of the grass, changing it over to raised garden beds, ground height garden beds, slightly raised garden beds, a nice entertainment area, and filling the backyard with food. What are you doing? Where are you from? I appreciate you being here. Tracy's Local Learnings, welcome. Thank you. I do appreciate that a lot. The garden's coming along nicely. We started here at the start of spring, planting out this garden. We had to clean it all up and plant it out. Originally, over the last, I'd say 6 or 7 years, we generally plant at the start of spring, but we would fill the garden completely full. We would look after it for a few months. Everything would be ready at the same time, and we would harvest everything, and then it would just sit empty until the next spring, where we've decided we've changed that up. We will now be planting continuously. Summer's going to be a little bit harder to plant through, but we will have enough to keep us going. And then as it starts to cool down again, we will have all the cold weather plants all the way back through. It'll be continuous growth. All of the grass here is going to get removed and new gardens will be put in. We're going to try and grow the majority of our fruit and veggies. We're under no illusion that we'll be able to grow all of it, so we're not trying to do that. We're just trying to get as much as we can from where we know it's come from. We're going to have chickens. We already have bees for the honey. We have Australian native bees, which are just pollinators. We have compost. My garden is just finishing before winter. It's unfortunate. We can grow through winter here, which we're really lucky with that. Whereabouts are you from? Yeah, we're only halfway through spring, so really we're just getting into the fast growing season here. Our biggest struggle season wise would be summer. It gets extremely hot, so there's lots of plants that just won't handle the heat. British Columbia, Canada, so you're getting cold. Do you guys have snow where you are? We do not have snow. I've only ever seen the snow once in my life, and it was the end of last year. Not the end, halfway through last year. I went down to New South Wales and seen the snow. We do have snow in Australia, but not where I'm from. Our winter's day here is probably still mid 20 degrees Celsius. Summer's day here is a high 30s, low 40s. Even a winter's night, like if we get down to 0, we might only get that a couple of nights. Generally, we would be for winter in the nighttime, we'd be in the high single digits, and through the day mid 20s. Summer through the nights would be mid 20s to high 20s, and during the day high 30s to low 40s. We generally get 3 to 4 feet. Wow, that's a lot of snow. Well, for some places it's probably not, but for me that's crazy. I appreciate all the likes, guys. We've got 7 likes on here. That's really good. Well, Tracy, if you wanted to watch through what we're doing here while you guys have to deal with the winter, and you want to see us here in summer, hit the subscribe button. We will be on here doing a live every few days so we can catch up for a chat. Please grow borage will increase your honey production. All right, perfect. I will take a screenshot of that and I will look into the plant, make sure it's something I can grow here. And yeah, I appreciate the tip. Do you keep bees yourself, or have you kept bees? I have a video on borage on my channel. Perfect. I will jump onto your channel once I'm finished here and have a look through your videos. So the pumpkin vine here, I was silly enough the other day to cut off my main vine. Study medicinal plants. Oh, that's really interesting. I'm by no means an expert in any of this. I'll be just doing it for fun, doing it for food for our family. Not that I'm, trying to be anything. I'm not trying to say that I need to be able to supply everything. We've got a bird pop up there. That is, if you can zoom in on that at all, looks like a crow, but it's not. It's called a pied currawong. I think they're an Australian-only bird. They're a little boring to look at, but they're quite a nice bird. They're black. They're the same family as crows. I think it's a type of raven. They have bright yellow eyes. But the sun's gone down over the horizon now. The colours have gone from the sky. The camera's still picking up plenty of light. It's still light enough here. But I'll hang around with you guys for a little bit longer. What type of videos would you guys like to see on the channel? Something in our backyard. Plants, weeds, dandelions, singing adults, etc. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be aiming to grow the weeds here. I get what you're saying. We have bush behind our house there, so there's plenty growing out there for the bees. I have a few ducks flying past. Not sure if you're going to see them. Now some ibis are flying over. Not sure if you guys have ibis where you're from. We call them bin chickens. They're a native, but we look at them like a pest. Thank you. Yeah, it is a really beautiful area here. So plenty of wild plants, wild animals at the back here. We're in southeast Queensland, so we don't have any crazy. I was gonna say we don't have any crazy animals. I guess if you guys aren't from Australia, you'd say all of our animals. See if we can get up here. We've actually got a fruit bat flying over his head. Early for those to be out. Generally, they wouldn't be out for another couple of hours. Sorry for whipping the camera around that quickly, but otherwise I would have missed it. We don't have any big animals except for kangaroos that come through here. So things like the hives, we don't have to worry about bears, which I know is something that Americans have to worry about if they're in that part of the country. We don't even have foxes. Well, the area has foxes, but where we live, there's no foxes. We don't have to worry about predators for the animals. We don't have to worry about predators for any of the people. So it's a really, really nice area that we live. There's another bat flying through up there, and I can hear some cockatoos. So a bit of wildlife this afternoon. I think an early storm gets everybody out and working before the sun goes down. We'll be putting up a bunch of videos on the wildlife. What we do get in our yard is generally birds, lizards, spiders, snakes. We'll take you guys out for a bit of a travel around with us as well when we go camping or head out. Head out and about. So outdoors is definitely what our family likes. So there seems to be a lot which we take for granted in this area or southeast Queensland that we see all the time. But whenever we show people from not from the area, they really like it. And quite often I forget that I live in such a beautiful area. Just deal with work and the stresses of life instead of coming out and spending time in the garden, which is what this channel is all about. So I will get to spend a lot more time out here. Appreciate it a lot more. Alright guys, we are coming towards the end. I think an hour is probably long enough for me to be rambling on about our backyard. If you wanted to see the storm that we had earlier, jump onto our page. I'll make that live public once I hop off this one. I think it went for about half an hour. I ended up stopping just to go and check out, make sure the house was fine with the wind and the rain. Next time, I know now that we're good for storms, so I'll be able to have you guys on a live for the whole thing, hopefully. The storms we get here are intense, but they're only short-lived. So, like if we had a 20-minute storm, that would be about as long as they're going to get through summer. We have blue skies. If we look up now, there's barely any clouds in the sky. Where just an hour or so ago, we were in torrential rain and it was very windy. Alright, I appreciate you all being here. We've just crossed over the 1 hour mark. I'll let you all go. Hit the subscribe button if you would like to see anything else in our backyard or anything else that we think that you'd be interested in. So glad I found your channel. I'll see you again. It's 1 a.m. for me. Good night. I appreciate you, Tracy. I'll have a look at your page once I hop off here. Have a great night. And I'll definitely see you again in one of our future videos. If not, jump on, leave us a comment somewhere. One little quick look at the Australian native bees, which I haven't actually had a big storm since they've been here, but they have not come back out. So hopefully tomorrow morning they'll be back at their full working power, filling up this hive. It's a rescue hive. We've only had it for a couple of weeks. So the honeybees are now sorted. I'm happy that they are happy, healthy, and they're going to survive. This hive here still, they're looking really good up until the storm we've had tonight. I'm sure by tomorrow morning they will be back at it. What they do is they close up the hive inside. It's a tube up there. They continue the tube inside further, sometimes like 150, 200 mil of tunnel. They use that as defense. They can fill the tube, they can close it off and stop other pests getting in. And I know that they built the tube inside. So I feel like that they are fine. They just mustn't like the storms, mustn't like coming back out after it. All right, that was all. Take you back around to the garden. My name's Jay. This is Aussie Backyard Harvest, and this is our garden. Have a great day.